Hi, this is Joseph Tan here from goodmonday.com. One of the most complicated responsibilities for a manager is to match the person to the right job or matching the job to the right person. Now, this is an engagement competency which is critical if we need to assemble and direct our team towards a high performance culture. And when you practice this engagement competency of knowing how to provide the right fit for your team members, then this particular statement will hold true for your team members. Team members should be able to say in an engaged culture, my manager knows my strengths and provide the opportunity for me to do my best. And if at work you have the opportunity to do what you do best every day, then it is a very satisfying and fulfilling job, and a very motivating one as well. In order to know your team members' individual and unique strengths, you can't run away from having personal one-on-one conversations. Now, many managers tend to look at their team members and decipher their capability in terms of their job description. But the job description is a static document that kind of applies to everybody in the same mold. Whereas people are motivated when they are known as individuals with unique capabilities and talents. So if you want to create an engaged culture, it's not a matter of knowing the job description of your people, but are you able to describe them individually? Do you know the people description? Are you able to describe in detail what this person is good at? What energizes this person? What motivates this person? Now, this can only be possible if you take both time and your personal presence in order to have conversations with each one of them. Just merely communicating by email and memos is not going to create an engaged culture. Only 1/3 of employees strongly agree with the statement that at work I have the opportunity to do what I do best every day. Only 1/3. What happens to the other 2/3? What happens to the other 2/3 is typically this. During a performance appraisal, they are called to focus on their areas for improvement. Now, another word or terminology for areas of improvement are weaknesses. One fundamental fact that we tend to neglect is that employees are hired into the company as adults. Their formative years are gone. What you see is what you get. So what we need to do as managers who wants to create an engaged culture is to help the employees to discover their innate talents, talents which are already there, nothing new that you're trying to form, and helping them to discover their innate talents which translate into strengths is a process of self-awareness. One of the best things we can do as a manager for employees is to converse with them and bring them to a stage of self-awareness, knowing what are the innate talents that they have, which is already there. By focusing on their weaknesses, we're actually asking them to form something which is not there in the first place. And this is very stressful and frustrating, especially when you compare them with other people. Does your organization have a strengths-based language to describe the performance of your team members? Most employees instinctively know what their strengths and talents are, but they need someone to intentionally guide them, especially during the performance appraisal session, not to harp on their weaknesses, but to have a way to describe what they do best, have a way to describe what they find joy in doing. And when you help them to grow in this area, then you will truly have an engaged culture. Most managers have got no problem with delegating. However, not many are deliberative in the way that they delegate, and that makes all the difference. The first key to being deliberate is do not treat everyone the same. Sometimes, in the name of being fair, we would like to provide equal opportunities, so to speak. But if you look at it, each person would respond differently to the opportunity that is presented depending on their strengths and how they are naturally wired. When I say do not treat everyone the same, I'm not saying that you should discriminate in terms of a person's self-worth, because as far as a person's self-worth is concerned, each person is entitled to be respected equally and they have the same self-worth. But when it comes to tasks, when it comes to projects, not everyone will be able to do it equally good. You have got to assign the project tasks according to how they are naturally wired. And you don't have to feel bad about it. In that way, you do not have to be fair. You just have to do what is right. So delegation is actually a very dynamic responsibility for the manager because different projects require different mix. This person may rise to the occasion for one project. This person may rise to the occasion on another separate project, depending on their strengths and their natural wiring. The second key to deliberate delegation is a little bit harder. It involves right placing the individual. Because sometimes after conversations, after assessing the individual's strength, you might discover that this person is not the right fit in your team. So you need to engage in the follow-on step to perhaps reassign him to a different job, and in certain cases, maybe even a different department. It might be a tough conversation to right place an individual, but at least you are being proactive about it by focusing on their strengths and by trying to create opportunity for this person to do his or her best. Because if you just keep quiet about it and assume that everything is okay, then this might result in resignations, this might result in a higher turnover rate and so on. So you need to be deliberative in your delegation, and at times it may involve right placing the person outside of the team. But in the long run, it is for the individual's good and it benefits the team as well. Remember, people don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. So a practical way to show that you care is to have personal conversations, because without personal conversations, how are you ever going to know your employees' personal strengths? Secondly, have an attitude that focuses on strengths. Well, weaknesses will always be there, but weaknesses are to be managed. Weaknesses are not to be focused on, because focusing on weaknesses brings you incremental improvement, but focusing on strengths gives you exponential improvement. And isn't this what we are looking for? Thirdly, is about deliberate delegation. Remember, not everyone responds equally to every opportunity that is given, because each employee have their own unique wiring and you do not have to treat each one of them the same. It is up to you as a manager to ensure the right fit, and sometimes the right fit might even entail you changing their job description or even right placing them out of the team. But in the long run, it is for their good. So in conclusion, your awareness of your team members' individual strengths and their individual person is a prerequisite to creating an engaged culture. This is Joseph Tan here from goodmonday.com. Thanks for watching.